fire. That's not fly. That's a different type of energy. Zoe's laughing because I'm right. I'm right, Zoe.
She's right.
You calling somebody an old ass auntie, you clowning.
Yeah.
They do. It's not the question of that, but the point is, don't nobody want to be called no old ass auntie. You grandma. Hey, grandma, that's old. That's old. Auntie is old. That bitch thinks she young. She out here thinking she's doing it. That bitch ain't in this.
She not lying though.
Thank you. You lying.
Go ahead, Jill. Tell us what it is.
I just did.
And Melvin Doyle, father of Black Chicago rapper Mellow Buck, is facing federal gun charges for allegedly selling guns to undercover informants. This comes days after a July 2nd mass shooting at Mellow Buck's album release party in River North that left 4 dead and 14 injured. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Pasadena delays East 210 from Sierra Madre, and that drive remains heavy all the way to Azusa. Also on the 10 eastbound Outer City Terrace, delays from City Terrace Drive, heavy ahead all the way towards Baldwin Park Boulevard, and the 60 eastbound, we're seeing delays between the 710 and the 605. More slowing on the 15 into the Cajon Pass, northbound delays away from just about Glen Helen Parkway, heavy and slow all the way to the 138.
Tired of feeling alone in your job search? With just one connection, you can find endless job opportunities. That connection is Express Employment Professionals. Don't go it alone. Visit expresspros.com to find the location nearest you. That's expresspros.com.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Yo, what up? Don Philly the Bull 215.
Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. You know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story. So she's driving me insane, that stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you, brother. Here we go.
What's going on, family? Let's talk about what happens when you ignore a dismissive avoidant. Family, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Eleanor, and this is Dismissible Me, where I speak only about dismissive avoidant attachment from the perspective of someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to check the playlist. Find me on Instagram. All of my information and links are down in the description box. And getting right into today's video, what happens when you ignore a dismissive avoidant? And the first thing that happens for me is I initially feel relieved. So regardless of whether we've had conversations about me needing more space, needing more time, maybe I need you to lean on me a little bit less, or maybe I've been pulling away and I feel like you're reading some of the behavioral signs that I need space, I'm going to feel relieved. I'm going to think that initially you're giving me the space that I'm needing, the space that I'm requiring, and I'm not going to think much of it, to be quite honest with you. Unless something major happened, there was a falling out, a fight, a conflict, I'm not going to think anything of you ignoring me at first, which rolls into the second thing which can happen when you decide to ignore someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style, which is I can be very slow or delayed in reaching out to you because I can assume that you're giving me the space that I'm needing or desiring, requiring. I may not initially think that there's something wrong. So if you're trying to ignore me in an effort to elicit a certain type of response, this may not be the way to go, because for me, I may think that you're giving me space. I may think that my prayers are being answered and you're giving me space. I can think that you're hearing me, you're seeing me, and this is exactly the space I was talking about that I needed. And then when I'm done taking the space that I need, that's when I'm reaching out. And that space, depending on where I'm at, you know, growth-wise and what's going on, can be an extended period of time. What you thought may have elicited a certain response in a couple of hours, you may not get a response from me for days. You may not get a response from me for a week or so, because I think that you're just leaving me alone, or you're just giving me the space to figure things out, and then when I'm ready, I'm reaching out, and then I'm reaching out a week later, I'm reaching out 2 weeks later. It definitely wouldn't be longer than that, because that's totally ridiculous. But if I think that you're giving me space, I'm going to take the space, and I'm not going to think anything of it. So there's the initial relief, then there's the delayed reaching out, because I'm not realizing that you're ignoring is ignoring. And sometimes it may have to be something else that triggers, oh, shoot, it's more than they're giving me space. There's something going on. Then I can also assume, if you've decided to ignore me, that you've rejected me. And when I say rejection or rejected me, I'm specifically talking about ending the relationship, ending the romantic relationship, ending the friendship situation. I can assume that your lack of response, your lack of, reaction to me sending you something, me calling you, or being very dry when I'm trying to converse with you in public, I can just think that that's how you're ending things. And I won't know necessarily that you want to have further conversation. I could just think that, okay, this is how they're choosing to end things, and then I'm thinking that that's it.
Oh, why does my niece Attila send me this stuff? Goodness. Tonight's topic, man. I'm flabbergasted. I'm flummoxed. I'm dumbfounded. Real people out here like this. And you could hear it in the tone, the delivery. Like, she's speaking as if nothing is wrong. Andy is in here watching it. He's watching like, whoa. Like, what is that? And you guys have to remember, I don't listen to the clips until you hear them. So I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's coming on first, right? The unawareness piece is really crazy. Just the way, she's just talking as, this glib, devil may care kind of attitude. That leads us to the topic that Atala submitted today. The grace to doormat pipeline. Oh my God. Giving grace can lead you to becoming a doormat in some situations. The grace to doormat pipeline is giving sympathy to anybody, people with insecure attachment styles, narcissists, whatever. Is it dangerous? Is it like playing with addictive fire? Can limited grace and unconditional love coexist? When do you stop giving grace? That is a powerful question. So many people, TC, so many people don't know when to say when. And if you could, here's a question. If you continue to give grace to people like the one we just played, that clip, right? And I know Albert just put 7 times 77 in the chat, which alludes to you forgive 7 times 77, which is over 400 times. No, I get it. I get it. But is giving grace and being forgiving and kind and caring and accommodating to a person like the one we just heard, is that really giving them permission to continue to behave in the way that she so eloquently described? What if grace, that sacred currency of love and redemption, has been hijacked, transfigured into the velvet leash by which the empath is walked to their crucifixion, their own crucifixion? 1-800-920-1580. In the covert narcissist theater, your grace is not a virtue, it is a drug. A neurochemical cocktail of oxytocin laced with delusion and spiritualized self-abandonment. To extend grace indiscriminately is not divine, it is disassociation sanctified. And yet, the world lauds such martyrdom as moral evolution. But what if that which you call unconditional love is not holy, but hostage? In a cosmos governed by frequency, as Dr. David R. Hawkins asserts in Power versus Force, one of his favorite books, I love that book, true love resonates at the consciousness level that he enumerated at 500. A harmonious field of integrity, clarity, and self-recognition. Yet, what masquerades as love in trauma-bonded dynamics often calibrates far lower. A parasitic loop of projected hope and spiritual masochism. The empath's grace becomes the narcissist's mirror, the perfect surface to reflect their illusion while absorbing none of their accountability. Sheesh. This is deep. I was having this conversation earlier. Love is not attachment, folks. Love is not being attached. You need to understand it. Humans have the need to bond. Yes, I understand. Oxytocin, dopamine, all these cocktails of hormones and chemicals. I get it. Bonding is natural for us. But transcendence is spiritual. And transcendence even transcends the neurochemical cocktail. Right? We don't know how to love as our true selves. We think we are loving, but what we're actually doing is deepening toxic bonds with one another. From a clinical standpoint, what is often labeled as grace, in truth, is a primitive fawn response, a survival mechanism lodged in the limbic system, trained through years of conditional love and covert invalidation. As Babette Rothschild reminds us, trauma is stored not just in memory, but within our bodies. You don't decide to forgive the abuser. Your nervous system obeys. Your nervous system is doing the forgiving. You were conditioned not to comfort, but to comply. Grace then becomes not an act of divinity, but a subconscious strategy to earn safety in unsafe relationships. Giving people a chance is not grace. Giving people a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance is not grace. Grace is connected to liberation. Liberation connected to individuation. Individuation is the act of merging the shadow with the mask, becoming a complete and whole person. Do you know what it means to be a complete and whole person? When they let you down, it doesn't break you down. See, when you're broken already and you're relying on them to lift you up, when they let you down, it breaks you down. Individuation is a type of liberation. True grace is, I'm never coming out of this high consciousness level to respond, to fight, to convince, to explain, to give clarity anymore. How many times have you given somebody grace in a conversation and you tried to explain again and again and again? You tried to give clarity, you tried to give nuanced perspectives, but you quickly realize, oh, these people, they just want to argue. They just want to disagree. Right? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Grace then becomes not an act of divinity, but a subconscious strategy to earn safety in unsafe relationships. Why would you want to do that? Clear, you're addicted to the toxicity of that relationship. The toxicity in that relationship represents familiarity, your norm. So even though it's toxic, you don't want to lose it. So you fawn grace. You perform grace. True grace is connected to spiritual evolution, and we're talking about the evolution of the consciousness. What we're calling grace, this is not spirituality. It is Stockholm Syndrome holding an infant. Alfred Korzybski, famous linguist, right? Creator of general semantics. Again, you guys hear me talk about this all the time. Created E prime. The language stripped of the is of identity demands precision. So let's rewrite the delusion. He is hurting becomes he appears to be wounded. I am showing grace becomes I perform compassion while my boundaries erode. This linguistic discipline reveals what general semantics warns us of, that language shapes perception, and perception can become a prison when divorced from discernment. We were taught grace is infinite. But what if infinity in this case is not a blessing, but a curse for the boundaryless. The covert narcissists, as Misra, Bihari, and Arabi meticulously map, thrives on the illusion of shared victimhood. We hurt each other. Ooh. When I come forward, the voice of reason is going to get even deeper. When does the grace run out? No. Man, he painted on top of the red. I'm going to go get a whole new one. The N and the A came off. And part of the problem is, instead of washing it, I think it would have happened anyway, but instead of washing it, I always take it to the cleaners. Because, you know, I like that little crease right here. I like that little crease. Everybody hit the like button. 38 people in here, only 19 likes. Unacceptable. Unacceptable, fam. The likes are free. They cost you nothing. Hey, no doubt, nephew. There was a hotel in Pasadena back in the 80s called the Posada. We was up in there, the Posada. Man, let me tell you something. I got this hoodie on because in here it's cold as hell. They got the air conditioner. They got it all popping now. I was at another place earlier today. The air conditioner was so damn cold. I think one lady sitting next to me, she had a blanket. Likes getting no grace. What's up with that? Everybody hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. The like button bruises their ego. Wow. Hey, get on the phone. Let's talk about it. Y'all wild. Elico.
And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-522.
Look at, boy, I wish I could show y'all Andy. Look at Andy. Let me see if I can show y'all Andy. Can y'all see him back there? Andy be grubbing.
I'm 38. Today, it's my birthday. And it took me most of the years that I have been on this earth to learn what I hope to convey to you in just a few short minutes today. And that truth is that great relationships are not found, they are built. There is a common idea about relationships that when you find the right person, you just know. And I think this is a pretty dangerous idea. Firstly, because it creates this unrealistic, sometimes impossible to achieve expectation of the level of certainty that you are supposed to experience when you encounter the right person. But that idea also ignores another truth, which is that most of us have had a time in our lives, or maybe multiple experiences, of feeling like we just knew about the complete wrong person. One of the difficult things about our culture today is that the perception of how many options there are and how easily and readily those options are presented to us, especially on social media and dating apps, has us thinking that there might be someone with a little bit more of what we need. There might be someone who's a bit more attractive. There might be someone who has a bit more of this or a bit less of that. And that might make them even more optimal to create that feeling of certainty in us. And I think that part of that lack of certainty we feel is about personal distrust. We don't trust our own decisions. We're worried we're going to make the wrong decision, especially on something as high stakes as who we're going to spend the rest of our lives with. And so in not trusting our own gut, our own intuition, our inner voice, whatever you want to
Matthew is cooking again. Matthew Housey, I think Housey, something like that. The man is cooking. You use grace as another insecure manipulation to keep something you don't want to lose. And the reason why you don't want to lose it is because you haven't learned to give yourself grace, to cultivate grace for self. That's part of repression and suppression of the shadow. Do you see? I can't give to myself what I expect and low-key demand that my partner provides. Do you see? If there are no self-boundaries, most of us are walking around, man, with an unchecked shadow. The shadow is unchecked, meaning it's in the background. You think because, I've suppressed it, I ignore it, I don't pay attention, I don't acknowledge it, you think it's not operating. Every relationship you're in is equally yoked. Yeah. 2 frequencies, 2 vibrations, 2 levels of consciousness yoke with each other. That's what it means. Christian will say spiritually yoked. Okay, fine. That's what it means. If you haven't done the self-work, you don't get to yoke with someone who has, because they're going to recognize, no. This ain't right. This is not how relationships go. You yoke at the level of your healing. That's where your yoke is. I know people don't want to hear it put that way. Just because you recite a scripture doesn't mean you understand it. Doesn't mean you understand the prophecy within it. You yoke at the consciousness level of the internal work you've completed. Do you understand? The covert narcissists, as Mizra, Bihari, and Arabi meticulously map, thrives on the illusion of shared victimhood. Their contrition is currency. Their tears a transaction. Your sympathy is not received, it is actually consumed. And the more you give, the more they gorge on your capacity to self-erode. Grace here is not love. It is stock in their illusion. And like any other addict, they will sell your soul to feed the next high. Do you understand? Just because we're using the same words don't mean they hold the same meaning. There's a different context and perspective here. I'm telling you, you're calling your wounded actions giving grace. If you're wounded, you can't give grace. Uh-oh. Huh? Hey, huh? If you're wounded, you can't really give kindness or care or empathy. Why? Because from a wounded, insecure space, unconsciously, you've been conditioned to do things, to extrapolate the things that you're supposed to provide yourself internally. Everything about your interaction is manipulation. And I don't blame you. I'm sorry for your heart. When I come forward, I'm going to go even deeper.
About love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask.
Hey, y'all quiet. Everybody quiet.
You're inside the voice of reason with Phil Williams on QBLA Talk 1580.
Where them phone lines? Oh, I'm dead on with the setup.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New Jersey Senator Cory Booker wants to ban ICE agents.
I got time today, cuh. This is one of them topics. This is one of them ones. Hey, yesterday you tried to press me though, but guess what? Today I got time, cuss. I got time today, cuh. Hey man, our gangbanging is so it's so cultural here. It's so cultural. Like, it's a way of life, man. Like, Exhibit. So a few months ago, Exhibit dropped an album. But before it came out, Exhibit asked me to come up and listen to tell him what I thought of it, Exhibit does this from time to time. He did it again. He did it before with his COVID album that he did with Be Real and another MC. He was like, man, come up here. I need you to put your ear on this to let me know I'm going in the right direction. Man, he did legendary West Coast rapper King T a solid. He said, King T, I'm gonna put you on this album. We're gonna do a song. He gets Tila to the studio. Unbeknownst to Tila, it's his song. It's not a duet. They're not doing it together. It's just Tila. It's called Notified. When I tell you it's a slapper. But the way he's screaming out his set on the song is crazy. It's melodic. It adds ka. it just adds to the song. Ka. You just hear it. And if you from here, you're like, oh, this is banging on what? Ka. It's layered. Ka. It's crazy. It's called Notified. It's on it's on Exhibit's new album. It's called Notified. I wish y'all could hear it. Ka. It's not cuz. It's not cuh. It's ka. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I was twisting a corner, banging it on the way here, like ka. Like I'm driving through Bloodhood, like ka. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. The track is called Notified. And he's basically saying, you come to LA, you gonna get notified. Like, if you're not from here, they gonna notify you. Ka. You have been notified. What makes you think your beer is more brawny than mine? Hey, my friend here. That's how it starts. Shit is lit. Why is there a beer reference at the beginning of it? Because King T is the original founder of the alcoholic crew, the liquid crew. They don't smoke weed like Snoop and them. They drink 40s and OE and what it make you do? Go pee? It's great, man. I'm sorry I went on a tangent. Mixmaster Spade, legendary West Coast rapper. Ka. And Roger not getting off the plane in LA. Thanks for information. What do you mean? What do you mean, Brother Gilbreth? I don't know what you mean. Ka. That's exact. He spelled it how he's saying it. Ka. I fucking love it, man. You have been notified. I love it. And thank you guys. You guys are doing a great job on the likes. We're coming right back. Please like and subscribe, share. Let people know what we're talking about.
Your avoidant ex doesn't necessarily go silent because they don't care. They go silent because when they are overwhelmed, the silence gives them this illusion of safety, and is essentially what they do when they literally cannot process. So if you've been finding yourself feeling confused, stuck, or having a hard time getting over somebody that is a dismissive avoidant attachment style, in today's video, we are going to talk about how their silence may often actually be a safety blanket. And you're not crazy for wondering about this. You deserve to have some actual clarity about what's going on. And so in this video today, we are going to break down the clarity for you into 5 crucial points. You are going to learn the keys to how dismissive avoidance silence doesn't necessarily mean indifference. Okay, that's the first really important point to recover. We're going to talk about what it actually means instead. We're going to talk about how dismissive avoidance tend to compartmentalize pain, number 2. Number 3, we're even going to talk about the breakup boomerang effect for dismissive avoidance. And number 4, signs dismissive avoidance might still secretly be attached. And at the end, which is probably going to shock you, we're going to talk about what their silence is really protecting them from and exactly what you need to do in this situation so that you are not in heartache, so that you have clarity and know exactly what to do next. If you're new to this channel, my name is Thais Gibson. I'm an author, coach, counselor, and founder of the Personal Development School, and I've been doing this work for quite some time. I had a very busy client-based practice for a long time, and then eventually created the Personal Development School. So I love teaching about this and love sharing these concepts with you. So the very first thing that I think is really important to recognize is that when a dismissive avoidant is taking space, when they are literally putting up walls, and when they are so stone cold silent after a breakup, I think it's so easy to conflate that with somebody simply not caring But number one out of our 5 key things that I want you to know is that silence doesn't actually mean indifference. That silence is something a dismissive avoidant does because they don't want to feel emotions. And so they don't want to feel any emotions that could make them feel uncomfortable, vulnerable. And what are going to be the main sources of who's going to make them feel emotional? You, right? And so when somebody's having a hard time processing something and they literally create like so much space, they're just stone cold quiet, they're stone wall.
You know what's so amazing? We don't want to beat up on the insecure attachment styles. But I'm literally leaving the cigar lounge to come here to do the radio show. The bartender has her friend, right, in the bar, and she keeps coming into the chairman's lounge where I'm sitting, and she keeps coming in. Are you on the phone? Are you on the phone? I'm like, yes, I'm on the phone. I'm working. I'm busy. She was, okay. She keeps coming back and forth, back and forth. Don't you hate it when people are ready for you to be finished with your work before your work is done? Listen, you can't come back in 3 minutes as if I had 3 minutes worth of work to do, child. But she said, you are needed. She said, I volunteered you for something. I said, what? I need you to talk to my friend. My friend, you've seen her before. She's been in here. I need you to talk to her. First thing, I go sit down. I said, am I going to need a cigar? They both said, yes, yes, absolutely. And basically, you know I'm going to ask, what's your attachment style? The bartender has her, I think she has her BS in psychology. So she studied, she knows, they know what it is. Attachment styles are fancy and it's trendy, everybody's on it. So she basically, oh yes, I'm an avoidant. I said, which one, fearful or dismissive? She was like, I'm dismissive. I was like, huh. And basically, I listened to her make excuses for the mess she created, right? And I talked to her for about 35, 40 minutes. I told her she should go to therapy. I gave her some books, book titles to check on. And everything that Thais was explaining in that clip, the young lady exemplified. And the reason why these topics are so important, right? We really had no idea growing up what an attachment style was. We had no idea. That's one of the key foundational understandings you can have. What is my attachment style? How do you find out? Just go to therapy. Ask the therapist, right? Because it's going to give you insight into how you respond in relationships. You hear how Thais Gibson was explaining about feeling overwhelmed. Listen, the avoidant types feel overwhelmed. When you get too clingy, too close, you want to pour empathy, or not empathy, but intimacy into them. Why? Because they had to learn how to self-soothe, and they're conditioned to do that. So when somebody comes close, they're used to going inside because they didn't get it. They had a parent that probably shut down the full emotional spectrum of their expression. This is good, but that's not good. Don't say this. Don't say. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's your dismissive type. They learn to be highly independent and resilient. And when somebody tries to step in, they feel like it's encroaching upon their independence. The fearful avoidant is a combination, fearful avoidant, i.e. disorganized, is a combination of the anxious preoccupied, those are the children that have a worthiness wound that might perform for their parents' attention, right? The fearful avoidant is a combination of both dismissive avoidant and anxious preoccupied. So in not knowing how people are showing up or how you're showing up, you have no idea of how to identify particular behaviors. Enter the grace to doormat pipeline, a death spiral of sacred language co-opted by shame. Forgiveness becomes performance art. Mercy becomes masochism. Love becomes labor. And boundaries, oh goodness, blasphemy. Thomas Campbell's My Big Toe proposes that love is the force that reduces entropy, but trauma-fueled grace increases psychic entropy. It fragments the experience. You begin to inhabit multiple selves. The self who knows the truth, the self who performs grace, and the self who quietly dies in between them. This is not healing. This is spiritual schizophrenia. To love unconditionally does not mean to tolerate infidelity, right? Or to tolerate infinitely. You can love someone and still leave. You can forgive someone and still report them to your nervous system as a threat. You can offer grace and still enforce consequences. Because without consequence, grace becomes complicity. This is the metaphysical schism no one dares to name. Unconditional love is not inherently benevolent. Sometimes it is the most sophisticated form of self-erasure. And when you offer it to a covert narcissist or someone with an insecure attachment style, you do not redeem them. You license them, damn it. You gave them license to act a fool, to hurt, to gaslight, to feed on you. Right? Radical proposition here. Grace must be earned, not extracted. And when weaponized, it must be revoked like a stolen passport. The grace to doormat pipeline is not paved with love. And I'm going to tell you another. It's not paved with insecure attachment. Right? What do I mean by that? We think insecure attachment is love. Love is unconditional. Love is infinite. Love is the highest level of consciousness on the level of consciousness of God. When you're actually loving someone, you are seeing the divine in every dimension he ever created. You are seeing that in yourself and in your partner. That's love. Codependency is not love. These are addictions. Ross Rosenberg talks about SLDD, self-love deficient disorder, as a type of drug. He said you get addicted to being codependent. Do you see? So we got to stop calling things love that aren't love. Love is the highest form of freedom. And I'm not talking about liberty, which means freedom within the constraints of the law. No, I'm talking about freedom, which means unconditionally free. You haven't met a free person. Even if they own a home and a nice car and have a fat bank account, they are still a prisoner, a slave to their conditioning. And for some people, the conditioning that they had to adopt makes them chattel slaves to their own soul. Yikes. When we come forward, the voice of reason going to go to the phone lines. All right. The setup is nuts. I don't understand what's up with y'all not calling in.
Gyms with pretty lies, where people seem to scroll more than they sweat. Well, it's time to level up. Welcome to Huff and Puff, where excuses die and champions rise. Smack dab.
Thank you, Black Gold.
North La Brea, on the corner of
Rodney Perry, what up?
This ain't a photo shoot, it's a battleground. Certified achievers.
What's up, Poppy?
Trainers who grind with you, not post pictures beside you.
Pookie and the
you're
crack pipes
chasing
I
your
love.
next
Yeah.
personal record or just
God.
trying to outrun your
Hey,
past, this is your
John, did you hear the song?
factory of sweat. No mirrors, no
Notified
filters, no fluff,
on the
just
new Exhibit
pain,
album.
passion, and purpose. Stop talking,
Thank you,
start
sir.
training, puff hard, puff loud, be legendary. Where folks go to war with their weaknesses. Huff and puff.
Hey, when I tell you it bang. It's crazy. What up, y'all? Where are the phone lines? 1-800-920-1580. I need 2 callers. Can I get 2 callers to get in here? Can I get 2 callers? Get at me. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Did your narcissist play off of your sympathy? Oftentimes narcissists will be like, have a pity party, especially covert narcissists, like, woe is me, playing the victim. Most narcissists want to be able to play the victim so the attention is still on them, so that other people don't think, oh, he's faking it, he's doing this, whatever it might be. There's like, no, I'm the victim. All these people hurt me, all these people did things to me. That's how I was for a long period of time. I played the victim. I was like, these people left me. When in reality, they left because of how I was showing up. They left because how I was pushing them away. But I had to sell myself a story that said, I am the victim here. They left me. I'm loyal. I'm faithful. I'm this wonderful guy, blah, blah, blah. And all of it was a lie, but it was there to be able to tell myself, oh, I'm a good person, and it wasn't me. I am a victim. Be careful when you see someone who comes across as a victim over and over and over again, because the narcissist is in charge of his choices and his responsibility.
Listen, this is a relationship resource show. Nobody's ever told you to go out and look for the things that we highlight here. You really think y'all can go to a crab boil, go to the wharf, have the greatest dinner, right? Hang out a few times, you know, go to a couple of movies. You really think doing things means y'all vibing and y'all coming together? Ain't nothing been revealed. You don't even know this person. Well, you know, it's been 3 months, 90 days, and all is good. What are we doing this weekend? Nothing's been revealed. This show is designed to have the discussions that reveal questions that you never thought to ask. That's what it's designed for. And yes, we're taught to give people grace, to consider them. But let me tell you something. Love is the greatest and most undefeated warrior in the universe. Remember, God killed his son out of love for you. Come on, sacrifice him. Love is gangsta in that way. You think love is sweet and nurturing? That's because you're under the spell of Disney and cartoons and all of these romance novels, and love comes in and saves the day. Sometimes love turns over tables. Sometimes love burns the damn house down. Oh yeah. Y'all didn't know love was a warrior. But it is. And so is grace. I am giving you give your child grace when you say, you've got to learn from this lesson. I can't save you this time. I need you to see where this process ends, because it's based on every choice you make. You need to understand what those choices sum up to in your life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes that's the greatest grace you can give a child. We think we're supposed to come in and save them from every little thing. Sometimes grace is allowing them to, oh, wow, I learned from that. Yeah, I'm standing here supervising you as you learn. Do you see? Come on, man. See, let me tell you something, huh? When God reprimands you, that's out of grace. Oh yeah, they say, wait a minute, he sounds like an old school parent. I'm doing this because I love you. This is going to hurt you more than it hurt me. But let me tell you something on a spiritual level. Sometimes you got to go through the fire, through the crucible in order to be transformed. I can tell you all day. You know what that's called? That's insight based on my experience. But because you haven't experienced it yet, insight seems foreign. Sometimes experience is the best teacher. We want to give grace to everybody because we've been socialized to be some kind of polite. Sometimes the best thing you could do is tell yourself the truth. And then whomever you're lying to, turn around and tell them the truth. Oof. I was talking to that young lady in the cigar lounge. I said, do they both know about each other? No. The grace to doormat pipeline is not paved with love. It is paved with unacknowledged terror of abandonment, of rejection, of meaninglessness. Huh? We stay not because we care, but because we hope that by enduring, we'll rewrite the script of childhood where love was conditional and withdrawals was annihilation. But the truth is this. You are not a rehab center for someone else's unwillingness to evolve. Grace without truth is sedation. Love without boundary is bondage. Compassion without discernment is just self-harm in a prettier form. So no, limited grace and unconditional love cannot always exist, because sometimes the most sacred act of grace is to walk away without a sermon, without an explanation, and without looking back. Not because you stopped loving, but because you finally started living. When I come forward, the voice of reason will go to the phone lines. Yeah, the album is called Kingmaker, and the name of the song is called Notified. Now, I only have Sean. I'm going to go run a lap. You spitting today. I only have Sean on the phone lines. I need my people to get on the phone lines. This second hour is for talk. Can we get on the phone lines? I love Sean. I do. But he's going to tell us to check in on folk. Just check in. Y'all, True Monger crazy. I need y'all to call in. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. Please call in, call in, call in, call in. And if you want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, whatever you could do, twos and fews, it doesn't matter. Go to my Cash App, do it here, $sign at the bottom of the chat. Support, support, support if you find this content meaningful. Could be. He up there with you, Ida. Shout out Lloyd Hinton. Lloyd Hinton dropped a Cash App on us. We appreciate it.
If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your soulmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes? Financial infidelity? Are you dating a bad person? Are they worth the wait?
Lloyd, come through with the support. Everybody say what's up to Lloyd. I need some ladies. Get on the phone.
Mama's baby.
Oh, you good. You check in with me, you solid. You good.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with the bad vibes routine. How does he maintain his humposity? Why can't you open up, brother? I'm a karate man. Karate man moves on the inside. They're gonna show their weaknesses. Yeah. How do you make women so well? So William. Reason and accountability. The voice of reason.
Hello there. You all right? Real quick, okay? I'm gonna say this and I hope it falls on the right ear. Some folk don't like you, but they need you.
Wait, hold on. No, ma'am. No, you're not gonna come in here with that fire. No, ma'am. Who is that lady, Andy?
Tabitha Brown.
Tabitha Brown. Where the keys? Somebody, where the praise break? Lord. Wait a minute. I need a praise break, Andy. Come on, man. Tabitha Brown. Lord have mercy. Woo. Say it again. Play the clip again.
Hello there. You all right? Real quick, okay? I'm gonna say this and I hope it falls on the right ear. Some folk don't like you, but they need you. I said, you see, some folk, they don't like you, but they need you. You see, they stay close to you, not because they like you, but because they need you. Okay? They show up and appear as best they can as your friend, but they're not. They just need you. And they like what you can do for them. They like having access to you. They like what other people think of them because of you, but they don't like you. Now, here we go. When the Lord shows you this, when he gives you clarity and he opens your eyes up to it, what you do with that is on you. If you keep them folk around that don't like you, well, whatever happens, you are responsible for that because you've been shown that they don't like you. You must be careful. You must protect yourself, your peace, your space, your family from the folks who don't like you.
but need you. Okay?
Mm.
That's it. All right. I love you, honey. Now go about your business, honey. Move your body today. And have a good
Hey, listen, that remind me of Nikki from the Sip. It's the same spirit coming off, child. Lord have mercy. See, sometimes people, listen now, sometimes people use your friendship with them as a passport into the world you live in. See, they couldn't get into that world unless they had your friendship. See, your friendship serves as a passport that allows them entrance into your world. Oh, Lord, listen, there's a lot of folk out there getting grace that didn't earn it. There's a lot of folk out there getting a pass that actually didn't attend class. Let me tell you something. You got to get away from folk that want to use you up. You understand me? They'll use you up, and while they're using you, they'll be like, oh, you my friend. You my best friend. I care about you. And soon as those resources have been sucked up by this vampiric spirit that you've given a friendship passport to, once those resources are gone, so are they. Oh, I've been busy. I'm sorry I ain't been able to call you in a minute. Things got a little rocky at work. My family got sick. Everything just fell apart. I had to focus. Yeah, listen, these people don't deserve grace. You cannot chase after a runner who has a handful of your resources. The runner, they ran off with everything you was able to give until you couldn't give no more. Now they running away from you, looking for the next source, the next supply. Come on, man. They like vampiric squirrels. The jaws are filled up with your resources, and they done ran off. Ran off the plug, man. This is crazy, man. 1-800-920-1580, the voice of reason, live from KBLA Talk 1580. This is where the realest conversation in the world about relationships happen, from Monday through Thursday, nothing but fire, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Quantum entanglement, or a trauma loop. When grace becomes delusional enmeshment. Here's your psychological insight. Trauma bonds create emotional entanglement that mimics spiritual connection, but traps the psyche in repetition compulsion. Your philosophical insight. Kant warned us against mistaking phenomena, for noumena. We perceive trauma as destiny because we project past wounds into current relationships. Your spiritual metaphysical insight. In quantum physics, entanglement links particles across time-space, or space-time. In relationship, trauma entangles unresolved selves under the illusion of karmic love. Go get my book, The Holographic Relationship. I talk all about that in that book, right? Your clinical and empirical insight. EMDR reveals that unresolved trauma creates nonlinear recall loops, causing us to relive patterns as if they were inevitable, mirroring entangled feedback cycles. Oh my goodness. The voice of reason wants you to understand what tonight's topic is, right? We're talking about when to cut the grace faucet off. Is your wound extending grace because your wound does not want to face being alone? That's a real question. Are you extending grace, right, to keep a toxic person or toxic situation in place? Time doesn't heal. Conscious elevation does. The elevation of your consciousness. Why grace without awareness fractures the soul. Unprocessed trauma lives outside linear time. Grace without time-conscious healing keeps wounds festering beneath spiritual platitudes. Do you understand? Do you understand? Real healing only occurs when we fully confront our own endings, not avoid them via false forgiveness. Do you understand what's happening here? Why do you give people so many chances? I want to know. Do they deserve the chance? What does that look like? Some people say it's change behavior. Are you entering another narcissistic wormhole? How grace opened portals to lower dimensions of the self. Repetitive exposure to devaluation reactivates the primal brain. Grace becomes a survival wormhole that bypasses the relational or the rational self. Come on, man. Huh? Are y'all ready for tonight? Some mystics argue that lower vibrational beings use emotional portals to feed off of others. Unprotected grace is a wormhole of psychic leakage. Your clinical and empirical insight. Borderline/narcissistic abuse correlates with adrenal fatigue, right? Derealization and time distortion, symptoms that mimic dimensional collapse in quantum theory. You say, Zoe, where'd Zoe get all of this? Relationships ain't this complex. Huh? The addiction to grace are trauma survivors high on forgiveness. The fawn response mimics grace, but is a trauma adaptation. Survivors conditioned to appease in childhood confuse compliance with compassion. Nietzsche warns that pity, when unchecked, degrades both the giver and the receiver. It infantilizes the abuser and annihilates the self. My guy, Dr. David R. Hawkins, in his consciousness calibration, true forgiveness is in alignment with love. And it requires integrity, not self-abandonment or false forgiveness. And if we're looking at false forgiveness through Dr. David R. Hawkins' lens, false forgiveness, listen, calibrates lower, feeding karmic loops. It calibrates at the same level of fear. Do you see? I want y'all to understand something about relationships. I keep pushing this, and I'm gonna do it until I die. Relationships are where you go to school, and the curriculum is you. You go there, right? To learn about yourself, to discover yourself, to come in contact with yourself. For what purpose? Individuation. None of these ideas are new. None of them. It's time for us to get going when it comes to using relationships for its original spiritual purpose, and that is awakening. One of my callers on the line, one of my favorites, my good friend, Sean, Oakland, California. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Brother Zoe, I mean, taking care of yourself is the number one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't just mean you as an individual. When you take care of yourself, you're taking care of your family and friends around you. You know, they look to you for, they'll look at you. Most people don't understand the difference between nurture and nature. Nature, that's nature. Nurture is that you are example, and other people look at you and they'll follow you. And you have that. A lot of people have that, but a lot of times they don't know the power, right? And I could be kind of crude, and I gotta be, a little bit here. Look, there's a lot of things with men.
Talk to me. Talk to me. Come on, talk to me, Sean.
A lot of things with men that are true, but maybe detrimental. Pussy is undefeated, and money is undefeated. And sometimes you need to step back and understand that family,
Remind them.
and people, your community is more. You should make that undefeated.
Thank you, Sean, for the. Wow, Sean, you forgot you was on radio, Sean. You know that you can.
You could say pussy.
No, you can't, Sean. You cannot. No, Sean, come
on now. The president did.
That's
the
the.
This is black radio, nigga.
Hey, the president is crazy. Well, come on, come on, Sean.
Well, maybe I am too. I gave good advice.
We're thank. Oh God, Sean, thank you, Sean.
I'm on timeout, nigga.
Oh, Sean, what is going? Oh goodness. Well, I hear what he's trying to say, but my goodness, man, we. All right, let me pull it back together. The topic tonight: the grace to doormat pipeline. If you don't want to be a doormat in a relationship, you need to understand why you perform for others. Did it originate in childhood? That's a question you might want to ask yourself. Did I have to perform for my parents in order to get their attention and or approval? Self-inquiry is huge when it comes to self-realization. Relationships are a vessel for you to actually discover the self so you can expand in this self-realized pursuit. Or let me do it this way. Let's ask this question. What if your so-called grace is actually a death wish disguised as virtue? You think you're doing right by people. You think you're doing the right thing, but in actuality, you might be hurting yourself because the grace is not coming from a space of discernment. It's probably coming from a space of need. If I, or maybe even codependency, if I don't give this person grace, they might leave me for good this time. Grace and fear don't go together, just like love and fear don't go together. How many times must your soul be mugged before you stop calling it unconditional love? Listen to what I'm saying. Mugged. How many times must your soul be mugged before you stop calling it unconditional love? I've been trying to explain to people for years. The Buddha said attachment leads to suffering. That's the term dukkha. Suffering, unpleasantness, unsatisfactory, pain, discomfort, disappointment, dissatisfaction. Dukkha covers all of those synonyms, right? Attachment creates this suffering. Why? I'm attached to something that I think can give me something that I never knew I already had. Right? So, if you have an insecure attachment style and you have all of these expectations and you want people to meet your needs, this is why I say sometimes psychologists and clinicians have to be careful of pushing the need narrative. My needs need to be met. You have to meet my needs. Because what happens is when you deal with people who fake individuation, there's some of those people out there too. If you can fake empathy, if you can fake care, and if you've been performing kindness and love in relationship, narcissists literally are experts at fooling and duping clinicians. Oh yeah, you can fake individuation. Do you see? So we're calling unconditional love. Unconditional. No conditions. I am seeing you clearly because I'm not seeing you through the filter of what I've been through. Now, if I give you grace from that space, it is divine grace, authentic grace, true grace. It is not grace that has a silent contract embedded in it. It's not grace that says, oh, I'm doing this because I want you to give it back to me at some point. When we come forward, I'm going to go even deeper. Hey,
Yeah.
no more.
No more for Sean?
No more Sean.
Period.
Yeah, no more Sean.
Okay. All right.
He's out of control. No more Sean. Crisis actors is crazy. And then he says it 3 times, like 3 more. I need a good caller after that. I do. Somebody save me. I need a good caller. I need a good caller after that.
Now, in this question, can I improve me? There is the obvious difficulty that if I am in need of improvement, the person who's going to do the improving
is the one who needs to be improved.
Hmm.
And there immediately we have a vicious circle. All right, you want grace? Well, ask God, maybe he'll give it to you. And the theologian will tell you, yes, God gives his grace freely. He gives it to all because he loves all. It's here like the air. All you have to do is receive it. Or a more orthodox, a Catholic Christian would say, all you have to do is to be baptized, to take the holy sacrament of the altar, the bread and wine, the body and blood of Christ, and there is the grace right there. And it's given by these simple physical means so that it's very easily and readily available. Well, a lot of people got baptized, and it doesn't always take. People fall from grace. Why do they? You see, we're just talking about the same old problem, but we've put it a step up. But it's the same problem. How can I improve myself? Was the first problem. The second problem is, how can I accept grace? They're both the same problem. Because you've got to make a move which will put yourself out of your own control into the control of a better. If you don't believe in the Christian kind of a God, you can believe in the Hindu kind of a God, who is your inner self. You see, you've got a lower self, which you can call your ego. That's that little scoundrelous fellow that's always out for me. But behind the ego, there is the Atman, the inner self, the inward light, as Quakers would call it, the real self, the spirit, which is substantially identical with God. So you've got to meditate, like a video that you identify with your higher self. Now, how do you do that? Well, you start by watching all your thoughts very carefully, watching your feelings, watching your emotions, so that you begin to build up a sense of separation between the watcher and what is watched. So that you are, as it were, no longer carried away by your own stream of consciousness. You remain the witness, impassively, impartially, suspending judgment and watching it all go on. That seems to be something like progress. At least you're taking an objective view of what is going on. You are beginning to be in a position to control it. But just wait a minute. Who is this self behind the self, the watching self? Can you watch that one? It's interesting if you do. Because you find out, of course, that this is just as the problem of grace is nothing more than a transposition of the first problem. How am I to be unselfish? By my own power. It becomes, how am I to get grace by my own power? So in the same way, we find that the watching self, or the observing self, behind all our thoughts and feelings, is itself a thought. That is to say, when the police enter a house in which there are thieves, the thieves go up from the ground floor to the first floor. When the police arrive on the first floor, the thieves have gone up to the second. And so to the third.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the voice of reason with Phil Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Measles cases in the U.S. are at a 30-year high with nearly 1,300 cases in 38 states.
It all it takes is one person coming back with measles, traveling internationally to start an outbreak.
Dr. Marshall warns it could get worse as vaccination rates drop, especially in Black communities that are disproportionately affected due to lower vaccination access. The MMR vaccine is 97% effective.
Great question. I'm staying on point.
Nancy awaits sentencing on federal charges. A judge removed key allegations from a lawsuit by April Lamprose, who accused Holmes of raping her in the 1990s. And Los Angeles is on track for its lowest homicide total in 60 years. Black mayor here in Mass.
Melanie. Everybody, please say thank you to Melanie. She just sent us a cash app. We appreciate it. Melanie. Yes. Melanie and Melody would be dope twin names, right?
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in
They would be raising him. Thank you guys for the likes. Appreciate it.
We understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfiresupport@QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Spa on KBLA Talk 1580. Attorney advertising prior results do not guarantee future outcomes. Hear that?
Chubby Rain. Is today Thursday? Today is Thursday, right? Oh, this is my Friday. This was a great week. This was a really good week, especially after the 2 weeks of the spiritual purpose of relationship. This was a fire week. One could argue that this week was as good as either one of the weeks in the series that we did. Nah, it's been a really good one.
My wife once asked the meaning of joy. I've asked before other questions about the past, and you've told me to stop talking and, concentrate on now. So can you help me understand tolerance and intolerance? And is there even a place for tolerance in my own reality? Is it something I have to deal with? Is it something I can just let go?
It is one of the most ineffective, unproductive, not good for you emotions that you could ever foster and encourage. Because what it is a looking right at something unwanted, feeling the guidance of the being off track, and then the learning to accept it as a feeling that you are willing to endure. In other words, we get it that it's a good idea not to misbehave in public. They might drag you off an airplane. We understand that sometimes you just have to kind of suck it up and not say anything. But when you deliberately practice recognizing an emotion that doesn't feel good, which means every time my inner being is looking at this differently, but I'm choosing to stay focused upon it in opposition to my inner being, so the knot still remains in my stomach, but I don't do anything about it. And in fact, in an attitude of seeking tolerance, most humans would say tolerance is not liking it and just accepting it, while intolerance might mean not liking it and throwing a fit. Well, maybe it's better not to throw the fit, but it certainly isn't good for you to look at something unwanted and not do anything about adjusting your vibration. It's like the difference between empathy and compassion. Empathy is looking right at something uncomfortable and just holding myself in that discomfort, while compassion is being in alignment first, and then from my state of alignment with my inner being, then looking at whatever the subject is, but I don't feel the discomfort of it. Instead, I see it through the eyes of Source. And because I hold my vibrational stance, now I'm bringing to the table, I'm bringing to the mix pure positive energy, which means I might influence the whole room upward under those conditions. With empathy, I just have to go down to meet it. Where with compassion, I stay with who I am. So I don't take a dip in my vibration, which means I might not help them, but I don't hurt me. And there's a stronger probability that they may come upward if we're able to play together longer with me feeling and behaving in my physical form like my inner being always behaves. Esther said to us early on, when she began understanding emotions and where we stood in relationship to her, and one day, in the midst of strong negative emotions, she said to us, Abraham, I think you should come over here with me so that I don't feel so bad. Because she knew the reason she felt bad was because we had different vibrational frequencies, and she had moved so far from who she really is. So she tried to talk us in to coming there with her so that she wouldn't feel the separation so much.
Man, the clips are on fire. Alan Watts before that, and then Abraham Hicks. My goodness. She cooking though. She's cooking. The clips are cooking. The content is cooking. The show is cooking. We're asking serious questions here that are important. Many of us don't understand how to effectively and properly dispense grace. I love the distinction she made between empathy and compassion, right? Oftentimes we have an empathy gas tank. We get empathy fatigued. But as she so eloquently articulated, compassion is aligned with Source. And anything that is aligned with Source does not get fatigued. And I think people don't really understand that. And because they don't understand that relationship in and of itself is this spiritual space. We see it as a social construct. Marriage is a social construct. Monogamy is only 200 years old here in America. We see it as, an ideal, right? But in the spiritual space, that's how you heal psychological wounds. Is your loyalty to the person or to your own fantasy of whom they'll never become? Is this why you continue to extend grace? You're loyal to the potentiality of who they might become for you? Is your loyalty to the person or to your own fantasy of who they'll never become? What if the only reason you kept choosing them is because they confirm your deepest belief that you are unworthy of peace, of happiness? Have you spiritualized your trauma so deeply that abuse now feels like devotion? Is your emotional intelligence making you wise or just exquisitely self-abandoning? Why do you give them a chance? Why do you give them an opportunity? Why should you? Do you understand? Are your wounds, unhealed wounds, the co-creator of misery you despise? The misery you experienced in your relationship, are your unhealed wounds a co-creator of that? And do they feel at home when they create the next toxic situation? What if everything you called spiritual love is actually just trauma, dressed up in cosmic, spiritual, metaphysical language? Do you really believe in forgiveness, or are you just terrified of the silence that follows accountability? How many times will you explain their behavior before you admit you're translating madness into meaning? Could your path to enlightenment be a runway of a rerun of every boundary you failed to hold? When we come forward, the voice of reason will continue cooking.
With the avoidants when we come forward.
The VOR, and I know you're tired of pretty gems with pretty lies, where people seem to scroll more than they sweat. Well, it's time to level up. Welcome to Huff and Puff, where excuses die and champions rise. Smack dab at 1221 North La Brea on the corner of Fairview. This ain't a photo shoot, it's a battleground. Certified achievers in the game. Trainers who grind with you, not post pictures beside you. Whether you're chasing your next personal record or just trying to outrun your past, this is your sanctuary of sweat. No mirrors, no filters, no fluff, just pain, passion, and purpose. Stop talking, start training, huff hard, puff loud, be legendary. Where folks go to war with their weaknesses. Huff and Puff.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter
for sure.
for free at ZipRecruiter.com.
Religiously.
ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their
And I ain't even gonna lie, I be religiously struggling.
actively looking for jobs just like yours. It's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first
Hey, did y'all hear the song I was telling you about?
So see what it's like when the impossible.
Damn, rest in peace, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Damn.
Right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.
Did y'all hear the Notify record, King T?
.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to
I think I'm staying on point, heard it.
Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for
Ain't it a slapper?
Since 1999,
It's a hell of a
this
slapper.
organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health.
Davey Lee, you heard it. What do you think?
Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over.
It's been a minute since I tuned in. Busy with life, met
lives,
you
life skills, training,
and Snack King in Oakland like 5 years ago. You always solid, brother. Town business. Much respect, fam. Thanks for tapping in.
Become a mentor or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living.
I see you, John Gilbreth Passa.
Forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the on KBLA Talk 1580.
So imagine what your life would be like if you were not always trying to shape and control other people's perceptions of you. Because that's what a lot of anxiety turns into. This is how people become doormats. I can't afford to have this person dislike me. And since I can't afford to have this person dislike me, I can never set a boundary with them. Since I never set a boundary with them, I become a doormat and they start to become abusive. Because I don't check their behavior. There's never a consequence for their behavior. And then the anxious person gets stuck. They become frustrated with themselves, they become frustrated with the other person, but they don't know what to do about it. And so the real antidote to all this stuff at the end of the day is detachment. Is to separate yourself a little bit from the ego and, okay, so this person dislikes me. So what? Right? And this is what people may tell you. Why do you care about what this person thinks? And you're like, I don't know, I wish I couldn't, but I do. And then how do you solve that? How do you develop that attachment? You go back. Detachment. You go back. When did I learn that I cannot afford to piss anyone off? That's the samskar. That is controlling you, that is preventing the detachment. Once again, there are practices that you can do, right? Meditative practices, spiritual practices, things like that can help you develop detachment. We have a whole path on that in Dr. K's Guide to Meditation. So, but for y'all to understand, this is also where there's studies that show that spiritual perspectives to anxiety can be incredibly helpful. One of the mechanisms...
Just fire all night long. Fire! The voice of reason, live from KBLA Talk 1580. You already know what it is. We're going to have the realest conversations, and it's going to be raw. It's going to be uncut. I'm sorry. I just... I feel like relationships have become so performative and so full of psychological and spiritual and emotional pretense that we never really connect at the ground of our being. Yesterday's show was about being able to be with a human being and how difficult that is. Most people need their partner, and they'll say if you ask them a direct question, do they have to be perfect? No, they don't have to be perfect. But then when you look at how forgiveness works and conditional forgiveness and how there's really no space for a human being who's always flawed, who's always going to make mistakes, who's always going to hurt your feelings, right? There's really no space. And then you say, well, wait a minute, there's no space, so why did you keep them? And then you have to ask the question, you have to ask that question, can your path to enlightenment be a rerun of every boundary you failed to hold? What if healing doesn't mean staying, but finally walking away without a sermon? Many people say, oh, I got too much to lose. I got too much invested. I got too much time, energy. Do you see? Right? Relationships are only a struggle because we struggle with ourselves. We struggle with the truth of who we are. It's one thing to not know the truth of who you are. It's another thing to have peeked into your soul and looked into yourself and said, whoa, I don't like this. And then run away from that. Because now you're abandoning the course. Do you see? The grace to doormat pipeline. A spiritual autopsy of weaponized virtue. I'm giving you grace. No, you're actually keeping me tethered to you, or in your attempt to keep me tethered to you, you offer grace. But the reality of it is, that's not who you really are. You're not the embodiment of grace. You're the performance of it. Right? So you can maintain what it is you're here for. There is a sacred violence in the way grace is misunderstood. In the name of virtue, many people turn themselves into altars upon which narcissists perform emotional exorcisms. But what if this isn't grace? What if it's a well-disguised death wish, an inherited addiction to annihilation dressed as devotion? The language of unconditional love has been hijacked. No longer a conscious offering of presence, but now a trauma script masquerading as enlightenment. In the unconscious psyche, shaped by attachment ruptures and covert narcissistic conditioning, love becomes synonymous with tolerance, and grace becomes the socially acceptable euphemism for voluntary crucifixion. Psychologically speaking, many people offer endless grace, or many people who offer endless grace are not elevated souls. They're spiritualized survivors reenacting an unconscious loyalty contract to their abusers. As Dr. David R. Hawkins, you know I love him, all of his books, Power versus Force, and so many other, The Eye of the Eye, right? Transcendence, Letting Go. He has so many powerful books, and I've read the majority of all of them many, many times. As he demonstrated in his map of consciousness, love, true love, not the love that's vibrating at fear, apathy, shame, guilt, anger. This is not love, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done any work, this is not love. This is attachment. This is insecure attachment, craving to be fed. Why? Because every insecure attachment style has concomitant insecure attachment wounds. Those wounds need to be fed. They have ravenous appetite, bottomless pit, spiritual tapeworms. Or let's recontextualize that. Spiritual tapeworms. Do you understand? In Dr. David R. Hawkins' map of consciousness, love, true love, calibrates at 500, a level far above the vibrational chaos of codependent indulgence or egoic enabling. What calibrates lower is the martyrdom that poses as mercy. The unhealed inner child who calls self-erasure sacred union. But here's the schism no one dares to name. What if the compulsion to forgive is a nervous system disorder, not a spiritual virtue? What if grace, in the context of trauma bonds and covert emotional abuse, as documented by Misra and Arabi and Bahari and Taylor, become a psycho-spiritual camouflage for a primitive fawn response? When our boundaries are bypassed, when our gut is gaslit, and when our soul whispers run, but our shadow still believes love can fix them, we don't just lose ourselves, we abandon the very architecture of selfhood. This is not grace. This is grief weaponized against itself. Thomas Campbell in My Big Toe reveals that love reduces entropy. That is, it orders complexity into coherence. But the grace that keeps you in a trauma loop is not ordering, it's disorganizing. It produces a psychic schizophrenia between what you know and what you tolerate. It doesn't reduce entropy, it actually feeds it. What we often mistake for spiritual maturity in relationship dynamics is, clinically speaking, the somatic residue of attachment trauma. You don't stay because you love. They stay because your trauma won't let you leave. And narcissists, especially covert ones, are expertly calibrated to exploit precisely that fracture. Listen, I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and I'm going to continue to do this. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's topics. I hope it gave you something really deep to think about. Please, please, let's all find a new way to respect the university of you, i.e., intimate relationships. I'm the VOR. I'll see you next week with another slew of slappers. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's topic. I hope it was good for you. It was good for me. It was good for you. It's good for me. Love, love, love. Y'all let me know what y'all think of that Notified King T record.